If you're like one CEO I interviewed, the words data catalogue probably conjure up images of a hefty book full of products to buy in a big box store. Fortunately, that's a good metaphor. I'll pause here and let you read the quote in full. When in a store with an abundance of products and choices, you need to quickly work out, does this store have what I need to buy? Which department should I go to, and who should I talk to about this product? And what are the details of each product so I can work out what it is and whether I want to get it? Now, a data catalogue enables you to provide the same experience for end users to find data or reports that exist in your organisation. Your next question is probably, why do we need that for data? Don't we already know what data we have, where it's stored, and what it can be used for? Now, if you're a tiny organisation with one single system, the answer is yes. You can quickly search a single system and find the data you need, or you know the person in your firm that can tell you where this data is and what you can use it for. Just like a small shop with a single shopkeeper doesn't need a product catalogue. She knows what's in stock, what's good today, and she can tell you anything you need to know about what you want to buy. However, as your organisation scales, so do the number of systems, and this makes life trickier. Data about the same subject can exist in more than one system at the same time, and this can end up like a giant spider's web where the end users of data get stuck trying to find what they need. Imagine shopping in a large warehouse where none of the departments or aisles are labelled. No product has information about what it is, what it does, and what it costs, and the same product can appear in multiple parts of the same store. You'd be stuck trying to find what you needed too. And that's the experience of what it's like when you've got data silos in different systems in your firm. A data catalogue is a system that allows you to describe the data you have, what it is, what it can or should be used for, who should have access to it, and who to talk to if you want to know more. With a data catalogue in place, it becomes much quicker and easier to find the right data for analysis, which saves headcount costs when searching. You can track the lineage of data, which means where your data comes from and where it goes to. Many firms find that the reports or data sources that are redundant and they can be turned off to save money. Others benefit by being more agile when making change requests because they know who to talk to and what the impact of the change to the data is before they make it and before another system is broken by that change. Lastly, because you understand the data available, your team can also innovate and support new use cases for the data. Rather than just using it to report business performance, you can now see insights across teams or business units that may not have been visible before. The value you get from a data catalogue is a function of the business context today, and we've discovered that there are 4 unique business situations in which organisations will say, today's the day we buy a data catalogue. The first is all about compliance with regulations. Now, every single customer for a data catalogue uses their data catalogue to help comply with things like GDPR, HIPAA, and so on and so forth. However, these customers here buy just for a compliance purpose. The compliance and the regulation is not enough. They'll be aware of the regulation because it'll be in force for quite a while. However, they only start to invest and take notice when another similar organisation in their jurisdiction or industry is caught not complying with this and gets fined, or when customers of the organisation start demanding evidence that the organisation complies with it. At that point in time, you will invest the minimum possible amount to comply with this particular regulation because nobody is interested in compliance. It's just seen as a drag on the business. The next context is about following a plan. Businesses in this context have typically stagnated. They've seen a lack of growth from their traditional channels, and so they often replace the CEO or somebody in the C-suite, and they'll bring in a consultant to guide that organisation and transform it. Many times a consultant sells a vision of a data-driven future where there are a whole host of use cases that you've never done before that are designed to reduce costs or drive new incremental revenues for the organisation. A data catalogue is just one page in that plan, and there's a hell of a lot of change going on in the organisation. But when you purchase on this context here, you're really just doing what you're told. You'll be appointing people to roles that have never been doing this before. You'll be buying tools such as data catalogs you've never used previously, and you're really having to go on the trust with the vendor and with the partner who's provided the plan that this is the right thing to do. It's very risky in this context. Help me be more efficient is one where your organisation has grown, and it can have grown organically, or it could have gone on an acquisition spree and purchased a bunch of similar competitive businesses. And in this instance here, all of a sudden you realise there's inconsistencies between the different data sources that exist in the various different business units or parts of your organisation. Most often this is captured in management meetings where people talk about inconsistencies. You'll have two different teams that are allegedly reporting on the same fact, but they're using different data sources and therefore their numbers don't match. At the same time, the data team are working overtime, they're struggling, and they can't meet the demands for data from the business in a timely fashion, and that's holding you back. People in this context here plan ahead. This is often something that's a multi-year selection process. There'll be in-depth RFPs, often many POCs, and the users in this case here can always put off purchasing something because it's always an important thing to be more efficient, but it's seldom urgent. In the last context, it is always urgent. In this case here, teams have used data analytics and data insights to drive the growth of their business. They've managed to have a big growth spurt in relatively short order, and obviously the senior leadership of the business want to keep that growth momentum going. However, as you take on new customers and you take on new data sources, then the effort to try and solve this problem and continue to provide the insight becomes ever greater. The CDOs and the data leaders in this instance here start to feel stuck, they're trapped. They can't keep providing things at the same speed they could, and therefore, whenever they're dragged into meetings with people who are promising growth and to sustain this momentum, they're the voice of reason saying, we can't support that. As a result, the senior leaders of the organisation will move heaven and earth to fund the purchase of a data catalogue because they want to move fast. They do not want to go back and say we've missed an opportunity to grow because we haven't invested in our data. Check out the other videos to learn more about each of these individual contexts and understand whether a data catalogue will help you solve your current struggles with data.